sharing something vulnerable with a safe person, I feel like that pushes you past courage if you're allowing people to see a part of you that you hide. Divine intervention, asking the divine to support you in raising your frequency. I feel like that they'll give you what you need. It might not be this 12 steps, it might be some other journey or path. But if you ask and you seek to raise your frequency and you ask the divine to help you, they provide a path for you. That will be provided. If we seek, we shall find. Hi, I'm Stephanie, and welcome to my channel. So I've been sober for 16 years from alcohol and drugs, and in May I will have 17 years. And I remember being kind of obsessive about the 12 steps at different points where I wanted to teach them and learn them and felt that they were like this miraculous transformational tool. And I remember even being like, why am I so obsessed with these 12 steps? Which, I mean, they help people get sober. I mean, like, they really work in a lot of ways. But it was like, I realized recently that the reason I was so obsessed with them is because they are one of the ways that if people do them honestly and wholeheartedly, they can move their frequency to a higher level. They can move up the scale of consciousness, which is what I'm going to be talking about today, the Hawkins Scale. When you do the 12 steps, you automatically pass courage, which is a big breaking point on the scale. And I was like, oh, that is why I'm so obsessed with it, is because it pushes people out of these lower frequencies into a higher frequency. And yeah, so I wanted to share that. Have you ever wondered why some people seem full of peace, love, and clarity, while others feel stuck in fear, anger, or shame? What if I told you there's actually a map of human consciousness that explains these emotional and spiritual states and shows you how to rise above them? Today we're diving into the Hawkins Scale of Consciousness, a powerful framework created by David R. Hawkins that reveals the different levels of human awareness and how they impact your life. What is the Hawkins Scale? The Hawkins Scale of Consciousness is a numerical scale ranging from 0 to 1,000, where each level represents a different emotional state, mindset, and energetic frequency. According to Hawkins, everything in the universe carries energy, and your emotional state determines your level of consciousness. The higher you go on the scale, the more aligned you are with truth, love, and inner peace. The lower levels of consciousness, 0 to 200. Let's start with the lower levels. These are often associated with suffering and limitation. Shame, that's the lowest. It's a 20. Humiliation, worthlessness. I think most people can identify what shame feels like at some point. Guilt is a 30. Blame, self-punishment. Apathy is a 50. Hopelessness, despair. Grief is a 75. Sadness, loss. Fear is 100. Anxiety and insecurity. Desire is 125, craving and attachment. Anger is 150, frustration and resentment. And pride is 175, it's ego and defensiveness. These levels are considered force-based states, meaning they drain your energy and keep you stuck in cycles of fear and survival. For a long time, many people were only below the next point I'm talking about. So most people were below a 200, which is courage. And only a certain small group of people or percentage of the population was above a 200. Lately, I think it's been expanding. So the turning point is courage, and it's a 200. At 200, we reach a critical shift. When we reach courage, this is where true empowerment begins. Instead of reacting to life, you start taking responsibility for it. You begin to grow, learn, and move forward. This is the level where many spiritual journeys truly begin. Higher levels of consciousness, 200 to 1,000. Neutrality is a 250, letting go and flexibility. Willingness is a 310, openness and growth. Acceptance is a 350, responsibility and peace. Reason is 400, logic and understanding. And I just want to point out, so reason, logic, and understanding is a 400. And for a long period of time, many people were not past a 200. So I just find that really interesting, especially with what's happening in the world right now, to think about reason is a 400, meaning you have to pass through all these other frequencies to get to logic and reason and understanding. Love is 500. It's compassion and unconditional care. Joy is 540, inner bliss and gratitude. Peace is 600, deep stillness and transcendence. And enlightenment is 700 to 1000, unity and pure consciousness. At these levels, life feels less like a struggle and more like flow. You're no longer controlled by external circumstances. You become anchored in inner truth. Why this matters. Understanding this scale isn't about judging yourself or others. It's about awareness. Because once you can recognize where you are emotionally and energetically, you can begin to shift upward. Even moving from fear to courage can completely change your life. How to raise your consciousness. Here are a few simple ways to move up the scale. Practice self-awareness and emotional honesty. Let go of judgment and blame. Cultivate gratitude and compassion. Spend time in nature or meditation. Surround yourself with uplifting energy and people. Growth doesn't happen overnight, but every small shift matters. So the things that I said for raising your consciousness or raising your frequency were the 12 steps. I just think that that's one of the most automatic ways. If you work the 12 steps, you will pass courage and you will be at a higher frequency. So that's one way. Sharing something vulnerable with a safe person, I feel like that pushes you past courage if you're allowing people to see a part of you that you hide. Divine intervention, asking the divine to support you in raising your frequency. I feel like that they'll give you what you need. It might not be this 12 steps, it might be some other journey or path. But if you ask and you seek to raise your frequency and you ask the divine to help you, they provide a path for you. That will be provided. If we seek, we shall find. And then the last thing I would say is higher frequency items, higher frequency spaces, nature, crystals, like music, vibrations, meditations. There's certain things that are at a certain frequency or subliminals. There's things that you can find that tune you to a certain frequency, and the more you consume those things, it helps you. And so I was saying immaculate consumption, consuming based on I want to get my frequency higher, I want to get to the love frequency, the peace frequency, like doing that consciously, like I'm choosing what I consume and I'm letting go of things that lower my frequency. So immaculate consumption is basically being really conscious of what I consume. If social media kind of lowers my frequency or my feed does, or being around certain people, it's like you can kind of look at like what lifts me up to these higher states, what lowers me, and kind of add more of the higher frequency things in, take out more of the lower frequency things. That's one way to adjust your frequency. And I'll probably be doing a lot more about this subject, but thank you so much for joining me today, for listening and watching my videos, and I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you.